The tip of my pen hovered over the contract when, without any warning, a stream of text scrolled across my vision. Bro, don't sign it. Waking someone from coma? That's a fairy tale. The female lead's been awake the whole time. She's just pretending to be asleep to avoid her family. It's hardest to wake someone who's faking it. The last comment slid past with a swaggering confidence. Waking up someone who's faking? Easiest thing in the world. A smile tugged at my lips, and my pen came down decisively. I signed my name, Ethan Miller. The wager was set. I pushed open the door to the VIP room, the heavy scent of antiseptic hitting me first. Thick curtains blocked out the bright afternoon sun, making the air feel thick and still, like trapped amber. The figure on the bed was so frail, she was nearly swallowed by the crisp white sheets. Claire. Stephen Evans, Claire's brother, a man known in the business world for his ice-cold demeanor, was looking at me like a lost kid, his eyes filled with an impossible hope. I ignored him, walking straight to the bedside. I pulled out my phone, opened up a clip from that god-awful reality show, and cranked the volume all the way up. A shrill voice ripped through the quiet room. I'm about to expose Tiffany for sleeping with your husband. Just as the most dramatic line was about to land, my thumb flicked the screen and the sound cut out. Absolute silence crashed down like a heavy curtain. At that exact moment, I caught it in my peripheral vision. On that face, pale as paper, the corner of her mouth gave the slightest, tiniest twitch. Dr. Miller. Stephen's voice was a trembling mess. He grabbed my arm. My sister, Claire. Did she react? Is there really hope? The joy in his eyes was about to spill over, held back only by a mountain of disbelief. She could be saved, but I drew out the word, slowly pulling over a chair and plopping down beside the bed, my gaze fixed on Claire's closed eyelids like a searchlight. She's not saved yet. I cleared my throat with exaggerated importance, tossing out a professional-sounding observation. I've heard that people in a true coma experience unconscious rapid eye movement beneath their eyelids. Before I even finished the sentence, those 2 rows of lashes, thick as tiny fans, began to tremble ever so slightly under my intense stare. I fought back a laugh, leaning in closer to up the ante. My voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. And there's another little rumor. People in a deep coma tend to drool. The air froze for a few seconds. Then I saw those tightly pursed, colorless lips hesitate, then carefully wiggle. That's it. Fish on the line. I couldn't suppress the wicked smirk anymore. I leaned down, my warm breath practically brushing against the shell of her ear, and spoke in a whisper only she and I could hear. How about you get up and make me a grilled cheese? And while you're at it, Venmo me a couple $100. Her whole body went rigid. Even her faint breathing stopped. The comment stream in my vision exploded. LMAO, CPU is fried. She's short-circuiting. Claire, your acting is so bad. She's going to blow her cover any second now. Her deadbeat parents and brother cried for 3 days, and she didn't even flinch. Watching the rapid-fire rose session scroll by, I couldn't hold it in any longer and let out a low chuckle. On the bed, Claire's body was as tense as a drawn bowstring, her long eyelashes fluttering like they were about to take flight. I watched, amused, a slow smile spreading across my face as I dangled an even more tempting piece of bait. By the way, I saw a trailer for a new movie yesterday, Reborn as the Psycho Alpha's forbidden mate. Man, you won't believe what the main guy does. I paused, letting the silence stretch. With every passing second, her brow, smooth and perfect, furrowed a little deeper. Now, I shot to my feet. Mr. Evans, I'm so sorry. I just remembered I have an urgent matter to attend to. I have to go. Stephen was completely thrown by my sudden departure. He just stood there, mouth agape, before he could even form a word. What did the main guy do? A hoarse, weak, but undeniably annoyed female voice floated from the hospital bed. It was raspy from disuse, the words a little slurred. Stephen froze as if struck by lightning. He whipped around, grabbing my hand, his words tumbling out in a delirious jumble. Incredible. Dr. Miller, you're a miracle worker. Claire, you're awake. You're finally awake. The comment stream went silent for a beat, then erupted with even more intensity. Damn, curiosity really did kill the cat. Just like that, she's awake? For real. Leaving a story half-finished is a war crime. My thoughts and prayers have been exhausted. Where's the morality? The decency? Link. Drop the link for the Psycho Alpha movie. Who was it that said you can't wake someone who's faking it? How's your face feel? The deal I'd signed with Steven Evans was simple. If I could wake Claire up, he'd invest $2 million into my startup, Abyss Tech. That $2 million was a lifeline, just enough to plug the fatal hole blown in my company by a critical data leak. Thinking of the data leak, the lightness I felt from teasing Claire sank like a stone. There was only one person I had ever shared that core data with, my ex-girlfriend, Victoria. Her response was to dump me out of the blue and, just as my company was starting to get off the ground, sell that data to my biggest competitor. Somehow, I always pick the winners. Stephen was already at the bedside, rambling on to Claire like a lost traveler who'd finally found a lighthouse. I looked at Claire. For someone who had just woken up, her eyes were as empty as a dusty, forgotten well, a landscape of desolate gray. That look made me deeply uncomfortable. A comment from the stream flashed in my mind. Claire's just pretending to be asleep to avoid her family. I lower my gaze, my thoughts racing. A moment later, I walked over to the bed, my voice deliberately gentle. Mr. Evans, looking at your sister's condition. It seems she's not quite ready to interact with the outside world. I saw a flicker of doubt in Stephen's eyes. Steeling myself, I grabbed his hand, my tone dripping with an unprecedented sincerity. Mr. Evans, I'll be honest. I fell for your sister the moment I saw her. Stephen's jaw nearly hit the floor before his shock was drowned in a wave of pure elation. Dr. Miller, you mean? Yes. Wonderful. Please, I'm entrusting Claire to you. Whatever you need to make her better, just ask. During our heartfelt exchange, Claire remained perfectly still, a beautiful doll without a soul, as if the commotion around her had nothing to do with her. After seeing a jubilant Stephen off, I went down to the hospital deli and bought 2 containers of hot chicken noodle soup. And on the way back, I picked up a new deck of cards. It was no secret in our circles that Claire was the long-lost heiress the wealthy Lockwood family had found years ago. She'd grown up with foster parents in some small town in the middle of nowhere. Not long after rejoining her family, she was in that bizarre car accident and had been in a coma ever since. The cards riffled through my fingers with a crisp, shuffling sound, my hands expertly breaking down the ordered deck. The sound finally drew Claire's attention. A tiny ripple disturbed the calm surface of her pupils. Want to play? I asked, looking up at her with a casual tone. I can teach you. She looked like a startled deer, whipping her head toward the window, but the slight tremble in her shoulders gave her away. I kept shuffling the cards, the sound a tempting invitation. One hand, if you win. I drag out the words, I'll play an audiobook for you. Her eyes suddenly lit up, like stars had fallen into them. After a moment's hesitation, she gave a tiny nod. Slight muscle atrophy made her fingers unsteady. They trembled as she held the cards. But her beautiful eyes were fixed on them with an unblinking, fierce concentration, the line of her jaw tight with stubborn seriousness. I smoothed my hair back from my forehead, and then proceeded to ruthlessly beat her 7 times in a row. It wasn't until one round, when I magically produced a 5th ace, that she finally caught on. Her head snapped up, her eyes wide with shock. You cheated. Her voice was hoarse, but the accusation was crystal clear. I met her stunned gaze without a shred of shame, my smile carefree. Rules are made to be broken. It's not cheating, it's creative problem-solving. Claire had probably never met someone as creative as me in her entire life. She was speechless, her face flushing red as she struggled to find the words to condemn me. I chuckled, neatly stacking the cards on her nightstand. It's too late tonight. You can think up all the ways you want to yell at me in your dreams. Save up your energy and let me have it tomorrow. She burrowed into her blankets with a huff, her movements much sharper than before. As she turned over, the wide sleeve of her hospital gown slipped down, revealing a pale, slender wrist and, on the inside of it, a jagged, deep pink scar, still new-looking. It slammed into my vision without warning. My heart sank, my fingers curling into a fist. I was hesitating, wondering if I should ask. The comment stream provided the answer. Ugh, that scar reminds me of the fake heiress. That girl was vicious. Is Claire a saint or something? Who acts like such a damsel in these days? It's not about being a saint. Who expects their own sister to stab in the back? And the worst part, her parents and brother all sided with the fake one. So now they regret it? What's the point now that the fake one's in jail? Claire should just get over it. Whoever said that, get out. We're off topic. Is no one curious why our good boy protagonist is such a card shark? The comments argued back and forth, but they helped me piece together the history that had been deliberately buried. So that's how it was. No wonder she wanted to sleep through it all. Her so-called family were just executioners trying to play the part of saviors. Before I left, on some strange impulse, I reached out and gently ruffled her soft hair. Claire, my voice sounded unnaturally loud in the quiet room. Good night. Stephen said he was leaving his sister in my hands, and he meant it. He never set foot in the hospital again. Her legendary Lockwood parents were nowhere to be seen either. Surprisingly, Claire's condition improved by leaps and bounds. One day, I opened the takeout container. The shredded potatoes were golden brown, except they were mixed with an equal amount of shredded ginger. Claire stared at the ginger fries, her face scrunching up. She looked like she wanted to protest, but finally picked up the spork I'd gotten her and began the slow, meticulous process of picking out the ginger. The sight of her, facing this culinary enemy with such grim determination, made my heart soften. I tapped a finger on the table, holding back a laugh. This dish, potatoes with a hint of ginger, is a proprietary recipe. Took a lot of effort. Hard to pick out, isn't it? Good for your focus. Don't worry if you can't get it all. I cooked it until it was soft. Easy to chew. The comment stream floated past my eyes again. Is this some new kind of physical therapy? She's taking a focus test just to eat lunch. Ginger, the mortal enemy of mankind. The protagonist is acting like a little kid pulling his crush's pigtails. Dude, you have a weird way of flirting. Claire ate like a finicky cat, slow and deliberate, with an appetite to match. Looking at her sharp chin, I gritted my teeth and decided to declare war on the hospital kitchen. She was too thin. I had to fatten her up. After lunch, she did something she'd never done before. She crooked a finger at me. I knew exactly what she meant, pulling out my phone and launching the game. She didn't know how to play, but she loved to watch me. When the login screen appeared, her slender finger tapped precisely on my username. Chad Roach Supreme. What? I raised an eyebrow, a little proud. Don't you think the name has a certain impact? Her face was serious, her brow furrowed as she searched for the right word. It took her a long moment to squeeze one out. It's accurate. I laughed in disbelief. Claire. The match started. I let my fingers dance over the screen, deliberately missing a few key abilities. In the corner of my eye, Claire's brow tightened in sync with my character's failing health. I sighed dramatically. It's over, Claire. My teammates are going to flame me for being such a noob. As the words left my mouth, my thumb slipped, and the screen turned a satisfying shade of gray. Damn, my luck is terrible today, I said, running a hand through my hair in frustration. She looked at the gray screen, then back at me, her clear eyes filled with conflict. Finally, as if making a monumental decision, she awkwardly reached out a finger, aiming for the voice chat button. I'll yell at them for you, she said, her voice small but firm. I looked up and met her gaze, which was full of sincerity and even a hint of protectiveness. The smile I'd been hiding finally broke free, spreading from my eyes. You silly girl. I was just messing with you. Everyone in this match is a bot except for me. But the fact that Claire was willing to jump into the trenches for me, that clumsy attempt to defend me, filled my chest with a strange, aching warmth. During her physical therapy that afternoon, she suggested a walk outside. I agreed immediately. Any desire to engage with the world was a good thing. I just hadn't expected to find Victoria waiting for us right at the hospital entrance. She was as beautiful as ever, a rose with thorns, but her vibrant beauty no longer burned me. Almost instinctively, I took a step to the side, completely blocking her view of Claire. The smile on Victoria's face faltered for a second before snapping back into flawless perfection. Ethan, she used my old nickname, her voice sickly sweet. Long time no see. How have you been? Beneath that bright smile, I smelled the familiar scent of a scheme. How did you find me? My voice was cold. She elegantly tucked a curl behind her ear, her red lips curving. You know me. I always like to have a backup plan. I used to be so afraid you'd leave me. She paused, her eyes practically hooking into me. So I put a little something in your phone. Just a bit of fun between a couple. You wouldn't mind, right? Fun between a couple? More like a felony. Fury churned in my gut. I practically ground my teeth. She was the one who traded up, who vanished without a word. And now she just shows up out of the blue. A gentle tug on my sleeve brought me back. Claire was looking down, her fingers gripping my shirt, her knuckles white. Tired? Let's go back. I asked softly, my voice gentle in a way I hadn't even realized. She didn't answer, just kept clutching the fabric like it was a lifeline. Just as I was about to lead her away, Victoria's voice shot up, sharp and grating. Ethan, don't you want to know why I came back to find you? She paused, waiting for me to ask. I just gave her a look of near total indifference. No, that shut her up. The perfect mask on her face finally cracked, revealing a hint of snarl. She practically spat the words out. It's for the baby. Our baby. That night at the hotel, you were blackout drunk, remember? Hotel? Baby? My brow furrowed as the memory was violently ripped open. She was claiming I forced myself on her when I was drunk. I hadn't touched a drop of alcohol that night. I checked the front desk logs and the security footage afterward. We weren't even in the same room. And even if I'd been drunk, what could a drunk guy even do? Looking at her face, which screamed, "You can't deny this," I found the whole situation absurdly laughable. Oh, I twisted my lips into a cold smirk. Perfect. Bring the kid. We'll go to the hospital right now for a paternity test. I'll pay. The triumphant smile on Victoria's face froze solid, the color draining from her cheeks. I took a step toward her, the unspoken pressure forcing her back. You cheated, you disappeared, you stole my company's core data and sold it. I can let all of that go. Each word was a nail dipped in ice. I only have one condition. Get out of my sight and never come back. Her pupils constricted, her face a mask of shock. I didn't give her another chance to perform. Shielding Claire, I walked away quickly, her venomous stare like a needle in my back. The comment stream was going ballistic. What baby? Too much info, my brain is melting. I remember this side character. She was supposed to have this cool, femme fatale storyline. What happened? It's obviously a train wreck. The kid isn't his, she targeted the wrong guy. The plot has gone completely off the rails. The villainess is lying, and the hero is even weirder. When did he learn to cheat at video games? You're all missing the point. When the hell did the main character start seeing the comments? The chaotic stream scrolled past my eyes, but my mind was crystal clear. All of these deviations started from a single secret. I wasn't the original protagonist of this book. When I first entered this world in the protagonist role, my mission was clear. Find the female lead and complete her redemption arc. I was supposed to go straight to Claire. But back then, Victoria was too dazzling, like a burning meteor that smashed my predetermined path to pieces. I was completely lost, diving headfirst into the web of lies she wove, and I tossed my mission to the wind. It wasn't until she dumped me and immediately latched onto another corporate titan that I woke up from that ridiculous dream. And now she was back, trying to pin someone else's kid on me. Based on the timeline, I must have been walking around with a forest on my head. I could understand her doing whatever it took to get what she wanted, but I could never respect it. One failed relationship was enough for me to lock my heart away. I picked up my forgotten mission again. The wager with Stephen was just a stepping stone to get close to Claire. But when I pushed open that hospital room door and saw that pale, quiet, fragile figure on the bed, looking like she might fade away at any moment, a massive wave of regret crashed over me. I should have come sooner. After sending that plague Victoria on her way, the hospital room was exceptionally quiet. Claire sat on the edge of the bed, her eyes darting around nervously. I actually found it funny. I was the one who should be embarrassed. That stuff just now. Sorry you had to see that. I was referring to my messy past. She shook her head quickly, her hands twisting the corner of the blanket. Her voice was as soft as a whisper. I didn't mean to listen. Her frantic attempt to distance herself, coupled with her helplessness, was like watching a frightened rabbit. It was adorable. I put on a serious face. Well, that means you have to keep my secret. Otherwise, I lower my voice to a threatening growl. I'll die of social anxiety. The truth was, I couldn't care less about being embarrassed. But Claire heard me and nodded emphatically, her eyes clear and serious. Okay, we're good friends, she said, her tone firm. Good friends? The afternoon sunlight streamed through the window, bathing her in a soft, golden light. She tilted her head up, a small, pure smile on her face, completely free of any darkness. She looked so incredibly clean in the sunlight. That small pang of disappointment in my heart was easily smoothed away by her smile. Fine, good friends it is. Claire. I tilted my head, my eyes landing on the curve of her lips, my voice softer than I intended. You have a beautiful smile. The tips of her ears turned red so fast you could see it happen, like ripening cherries. Her eyes started darting around nervously. From now on, I continued teasing her. You should smile more, okay? The comment stream turned into a collective shriek. Ah, it's love. I smell love. Our pure-hearted warrior has fallen. You're falling for her too, Prodag. Stop pretending. I swallowed the key. Lock them up. Right now. Immediately. Where's the justice of the peace? I'm dragging him over here. Seeing the screen fill with lock them up and get married. The smile on my face froze for a second. The shadow I'd almost forgotten crept back over my heart. I'd almost forgotten. Claire couldn't be with me. Steven's $2 million investment was like a shot of adrenaline straight into the heart of a biz tech. The company finally clawed its way out of the mud pit of the data leak and got back on its feet. I worked around the clock for days, dealing with the mountain of problems that had piled up, the exhaustion nearly crushing me. But today was different. On the phone last night, Claire's voice had a hidden excitement to it. She said she had a surprise for me. That little spark of anticipation had been making me antsy since the moment I woke up. When I pushed open the hospital room door, I walked in on Claire frantically shoving something in her nightstand drawer. Hearing the door, she jumped like a startled rabbit. When she saw it was me, a blush spread across her cheeks, so intense it even colored the tips of her ears. I frowned, reaching out to feel her forehead. You don't have a fever. Why are you so red? Are you not feeling well? My voice was tight with a tension I didn't even recognize in myself. No, she denied it quickly, her voice a little too sharp, her eyes avoiding mine like she'd been caught doing something wrong. Seeing her act like this, I knew. A grin spread across my face. Is it for me? I drew out the words playfully. Should I? Close my eyes. That just made her more flustered. Her fingers unconsciously fiddled with each other, a nervous habit of hers. Don't be nervous. I softened my voice, trying to soothe her. Claire, whatever you give me, I'll love it. It was like a magic spell. Her tense shoulders relaxed. She took a deep breath, as if steeling herself for something, and finally turned around. From the back of the drawer, she pulled out the surprise, a small, palm-sized drawing pad. When she placed that little pad in my hands, my heart felt like it had been squeezed hard, then suddenly released. The person in the drawing was rendered in simple, clean lines, a sharp brow, deep-set eyes. The technique was still a bit raw, but the essence. It was unmistakably me. The room was so quiet you could hear the dust settle. I thought I heard something explode in my chest, a beautiful, silent firework. The long silence made Claire anxious. She glanced up timidly, her voice a barely audible thread. Does it not look like you? Or do you not like it? I snapped back to reality, my gaze shifting from the drawing to her worried face. I swallowed hard, my voice coming out raspy, unlike my own. No, it's perfect. I love it. The comment stream went nuts. OMG, it looks just like him. She captured his vibe perfectly. She's a natural. Did she ever take lessons? A true talent. Wasn't her foster mom an art teacher? Nature pour nature. Damn those Lockwoods. Forcing her to learn all that useless etiquette. So Claire loves to draw. Crying. My fingertips traced the slightly rough texture of the pencil on the pad. An idea took root in my mind crystal clear. I looked at her, my voice very soft, like I was making a solemn promise. Claire, have you ever thought about having your own art exhibition one day? Her eyes, which were always veiled by a thin layer of mist, suddenly lit up, shining with a breathtaking brightness. But the light only flickered for a moment before it was extinguished like a candle flame in the wind. She looked down, her thick lashes hiding all emotion, her voice light and defeated. No, They would hate it. There was again that retreat, a reflex born from past trauma. My heart ached as if pricked by a needle. I immediately knelt, bringing my eyes level with hers, forcing her to look at me. My words were slow and firm. Claire, look at me. Listen. I took a deep breath, trying to make my voice sound as reliable as possible. Ethan Miller will never hate you, so whatever you want to do, just do it. If the sky falls, I'll hold it up for you. She stared at me, as if trying to decide if I was telling the truth. After a moment, she tilted her head slightly, her clean, clear eyes reflecting my own image, and then, very slowly, she nodded. In that instant, a new goal was cemented in my heart. I was going to build her an art studio. It was late when I left the hospital, clutching the small drawing pad that was still warm from her touch. The streetlights stretched my shadow long and thin, and my steps were so light I felt like I could fly. Everything looked beautiful, even the stray dog digging through a trash can, which I felt an urge to bow to and thank for its hard work. That good mood ended in the shadow of the next streetlight. Victoria was standing there like a ghost. The dim yellow light split her beautiful but haggard face in two, half in light, half in shadow. In her arms, she held something wrapped tightly in a thick blanket. The shape was strange. Ethan. Her voice was dry and abrupt in the quiet night. We need to talk. She paused, a hint of a plea in her tone. Consider it a birthday present for me. Her birthday? It was only then that I remembered what day it was. How ironic. Our entire ridiculous history had managed to perfectly avoid every single noteworthy date. Honestly, there was nothing left between us but settling old scores. The refusal was on the tip of my tongue, but my eyes were drawn to the squirming thing in her arms. A corner of the blanket slipped, revealing not a baby's face, but the rough, swaddled skin of a butternut squash. The expression on my face must have been priceless. Victoria, however, seemed unfazed. She shifted the squash in her arms, exposing it to the wind, and somehow managed to squeeze out a pitiful expression. The baby and I, we have nowhere else to go. Can you let us stay with you for a little while? A chill shot on my spine. This world had officially gone insane. She clutched the squash and took a step closer, that familiar, calculating, confident smile returning to her face. Ethan, I know, you can't bear to let me go. Under the streetlight, her beautiful face and the butternut squash in her arms created a scene of profound and bizarre absurdity. The comment stream exploded with, and warning, high levels of crazy ahead. I took a deep breath, my fingers instinctively tightening around the hard corner of the drawing pad in my pocket. The cold touch brought me back to my senses. When I spoke again, my voice was like ice. Victoria, I have the evidence of you leaking Abyss text core data. If you have any sense left, I stared her down, watching her pupils shrink. You'll disappear right now. Otherwise, I'd be happy to have my lawyer teach you the meaning of the word regret in a courtroom. The winter wind cut like a knife. I didn't spare another glance at her shocked expression. I tightened my coat and turned to leave. As I brushed past her, her voice, twisted with resentment, pierced the cold air. You have someone new, don't you? She stared at the side of my face. Is it that girl from the hospital? The Evans girl? My steps faltered. The blood in my veins seemed to freeze solid. She caught my stiffness and let out a short, sharp laugh. I knew it. I was wondering why you suddenly grew a spine. You've latched on to Lockwoods, haven't you? That $2 million. Was that your price for selling yourself to Stephen Evans? Ethan, you and I are the same kind of people. Her word were laced with malicious speculation and contempt. The anger in my heart ignited, the flames making my fingertips tingle. Not because she was slandering me, but because she was dragging Claire into this filthy mess. I spun around, my gaze as sharp as a blade. Shut up. What? Did I hit a nerve? She sneered, even more pleased with herself. Claire, and I began, my voice quiet but incredibly clear, each word hitting her like a shard of ice, are not what you think. I looked at her face, a mask of worldly calculation, and suddenly felt exhausted and amused. Money and power are the least interesting things about her. There are so many reasons to love her. My voice was so soft it was almost lost in the wind, but I knew I was saying it for myself. The comment stream, however, seemed to hit a pause button, and then it was flooded with "I'm crying 99," and I swallowed the key. Back in my cold apartment, I lay in bed while the comment stream argued endlessly about whether I would confess my feelings tomorrow. I closed my eyes, and amidst the buzzing, I fell into a deep sleep. Mosquitoes? No, it was the string in my head labeled Claire, pulled far too tight. The moment I pushed open the hospital room door, I froze. Claire was sitting by the window, the afternoon sun outlining her slender profile. Her gaze was distant, and there were faint shadows under her eyes. Didn't sleep well? I put down the things I'd brought and walked closer, my voice unconsciously softening. She flinched like a startled animal, her shoulders tensing. She avoided my eyes and mumbled a vague, Her doctor said her vitals were stable, but her mental state still needed monitoring. A nameless worry seized me. I knelt in front of her, meeting her gaze, trying to keep my tone gentle but firm. "Claire, if something's on your mind, don't keep it in. Tell me. Whatever it is, I'll listen." Her long lashes fluttered. She twisted the hem of her gown, and a blush slowly crept up her cheeks like watercolor paint. Just when I thought she wouldn't say anything, she suddenly looked up. Her clear eyes met mine, filled with a do-or-die courage. Her voice was a whisper, but every word was clear. "Ethan, why? Why haven't you confessed yet?" I choked on my own spit, coughing so hard I thought my lungs would give out. When I finally caught my breath, my face was hot enough to fry an egg. That question was a direct hit. It completely blindsided me. I tried to look composed, putting on a serious face. Who told you that? I mean, I was fully aware of my own feelings, but this innocent little kitten was supposed to still be in the good friend stage, right? She bit her lip a little shyly. Her slender, pale fingers lifted hesitantly and pointed at the empty air in front of me. They told me," she whispered. I followed her finger and saw it. The entire comment stream was being spammed with walls of giant. "Holy S. The female leak in CUS? This is a catastrophic level of public embarrassment. Since when? Last night. It had to be last night when the ex-girlfriend cornered him. Case closed. When the hero made that heartfelt confession, 'I really love her,' boom. The comment stream went live for her. This is insane. So she was watching the live commentary this whole time? Watching the stream cycle through a dozen ridiculous but probably accurate theories, I actually calmed down. Now that it had happened, it wasn't so bad. I took a deep breath and looked at Claire, whose face was still flushed. When were you able to see these?" "Last night." She lowered her head, her fingers instinctively playing with her earlobe. Her voice got even quieter. "After you left." She paused, then added, "It was a little scary at first, but what they were saying was kind of interesting." The comment stream instantly switched from a horror movie to a comedy special. "Haha, she thinks we're boring. Cater to our audience. Ladies, show him what you got." Daisy Buchanan driving a monster truck? Katniss Everdeen opening a Michelin star restaurant? What kind of fanfic is this? As long as the female lead is happy. We are professional comedians. As expected, the comments didn't disappoint. They started improvising a bizarre story that was a mashup of mythology, kung fu, and family drama. Logic? Non-existent. Imagery? Off the charts. As Claire watched, the corners of her mouth curled up, and her eyes sparkled like they were filled with crushed starlight. In the midst of this light-hearted atmosphere, I caught a flash of movement out of the corner of my eye, a dark shadow disappearing from outside the hospital room door. My internal alarm bells went off. I stood up casually, walked over to the window, and used the reflection in the glass to check the hallway. A familiar figure was leaning against the wall, an unlit cigarette between his fingers. It was Stephen. Claire was still lost in the hilarious chaos of the comment stream. I tiptoed out of the room. Stephen saw me and straightened up. His expensive shirt was wrinkled, and his eyes were heavy with exhaustion. He'd clearly been up all night. He opened his mouth, his face showing a nervousness I'd never seen before. "Dr. Miller, Claire, has she been okay?" Thinking of the scar on her wrist, thinking of the past the stream had revealed, I couldn't muster a friendly expression for him. My voice was flat. "Why don't you go in and see for yourself?" He flinched as if I'd hit a nerve, his face hardening before crumbling into despair. She wouldn't want to see me," he said, his voice low and raspy. My parents and I, we owe her too much. Something slammed into my chest, a painful, sour feeling. I looked at his haggard face, then thought of the girl in the room, trying so hard to smile despite her fear, and a wave of anger mixed with protectiveness washed over me. Mr. Evans, Claire is much stronger than you think. She just doesn't understand why the people who were supposed to love her most were the ones who hurt her the deepest. So she had no choice but to hide herself away. My voice rose without me realizing it, thick with suppressed rage and a tremor I couldn't hide. If it were you, what would you have done? Stephen was stunned into silence, staring at me with a complex mix of shock, pain, and confusion. Just then, click, the door to the hospital room was pushed open from the inside. Claire stood in the doorway. Sunlight poured in from behind, outlining her in a soft golden halo. She just stood there, her calm gaze falling on Stephen, without avoidance or resentment, only a transparent sort of acceptance. Stephen's breath caught in his throat. He stood frozen. My heart clenched, and I instinctively moved to step forward. But she seemed to sense my worry. She turned her head slightly and gave me a faint but incredibly resolute smile. That smile was like a warm current, instantly calming my frayed nerves. I swallowed the words of protest on my tongue and silently moved to her side, standing firm. Her cool fingers reached for mine, gripping two of them tightly, tremulously. The pressure felt like she was drawing courage from me. Stephen's eyes flickered as he looked at our joined hands, and the look finally dissolved into a nearly inaudible sigh. Inside the room, time seemed to slow down. Stephen, like a penitent sinner, kept his head down, his dry voice recounting their belated guilt and pain. Claire mostly just listened quietly, occasionally nodding or shaking her head as if confirming details of the past she had been forced to forget. I stood beside her, my gaze never leaving her face. Her eyes were slightly downcast, her long lashes casting soft shadows on her cheeks. The line of her profile was gentle yet stubborn. It was only then that I truly understood the resilient strength hidden within this seemingly fragile girl. She was like an uncut diamond that, after being ground down by hardship, shone with an even purer light. That purity and resilience made it impossible for me to look away. Claire, Stephen's voice was raspy with a near-pleading tone as he finally reached the end of his confession. I am sorry. I'm so sorry. We were fools. We were blind, and we let you suffer so much. From now on, we'll do everything we can to make it up to you, to fix what we broke. Can you? Can you forgive us? A dead silence fell over the room. The air was thick, every second stretching into an eternity. Stephen held his breath, his face pale, like a prisoner awaiting his sentence. Claire was silent for a long time. The sunlight moved slowly across her face, illuminating the calm depths of her eyes. Finally, she looked up at Stephen. Her clear gaze held no hatred, no blame, only a nearly brutal clarity. I accept your apology. Her voice was soft but incredibly distinct, each word landing like a hammer blow. But I will not forgive you. The color drained from Stephen's face. He swayed on his feet, but in the next second, it was as if a massive weight had been lifted from his shoulders. He let out a long, deep breath and forced his lips into a smile that looked more painful than crying, yet held a hint of relief. Okay, that's okay, Claire. This is good enough. The comment stream went absolutely insane. Holy crap. Holy crap. You scared me to death. I forgot to breathe. Our girl is different. She actually said no. The doormat has risen. This is amazing. Love made her brave. Love conquers all. My inner sap is screaming. I live for this redemption arc. So, when's the wedding? I'm waiting. Chop chop. A fiery blush spread across Claire's cheeks. She suddenly spun around and, like a frightened deer, buried her face in my chest. I could feel her body trembling, and she whispered in my shirt, her voice laced with embarrassment and uncertainty. Ethan, was that too selfish of me? She was scared. Scared her refusal to forgive would be seen as ungrateful. Scared this hard-won peace would be shattered. She was always like this, overthinking everything, like a hedgehog with its quills up, desperate for warmth. My heart felt like it was being tickled by a feather, aching and soft. I tightened my arms, holding her securely, resting my chin on the crown of her head. My voice was low and steady, a solemn vow. Claire, you are free. Which way the wind blows, where the clouds go, that's for you to decide. Cry if you want to cry, laugh if you want to laugh, say no if you want to say no. Forgive, or don't forgive. It's all up to you. As long as it's what you truly want, you do it. I will always be on your side. The body in my arms finally, slowly, began to relax. With that weight off her shoulders, Claire was like a bird freed from a cage. She smiled more and more, sometimes even whispering to the empty air, the comet stream, and making herself laugh. Our days drifted by, filled with a quiet warmth. Only I knew that the sword hanging over my head was about to drop. It was the fate of someone who enters a story. Once the mission is complete, it's time to leave. With good luck, maybe I'd leave a trace behind. With bad luck, my very existence would be erased. I couldn't take that gamble. And then Victoria messaged me again, wanting to meet for a final resolution. The moment I agreed, the comment stream turned into a sea of traitors. Girl, he's going to meet that evil woman. The lies of men. Just yesterday, he was calling you sweetheart. What happened to true love? My eye twitched. I nearly threw my hands up in surrender. Friendly fire. Cease fire. It's business. Just business. Claire knew why I was going, so she didn't ask questions. She just quietly took my hand and slipped a simple black hair tie onto my wrist. The cool elastic was a stark contrast to the warmth of her fingers. My heart skipped a beat. I wiggled my wrist, teasing her. Well, Ms. Evans, is this you? Staking your claim? She looked up, her eyes clear and serious, and nodded firmly. Yes. That single, determined yes was like a stone dropped into my heart, and the ripples it created were filled with a terrifying panic. I looked away, almost flinching, and in doing so, I missed the flicker of knowing in her eyes. At the restaurant, Victoria's exhaustion was obvious, like a wilted rose. Silence stretched between the clinking of silverware. She was the one to break it. About before. I'm sorry, she said, her voice dry, her posture uncharacteristically subdued. I stirred my coffee, not looking up. You don't have to be. She seemed to have expected that. She gave a slight, bitter smile and raised her wine glass. Before I met you, I was just scrambling, using any means necessary to grasp at things that weren't real. Only later did I realize. Maybe there was a cleaner way to live. She paused, her gaze drifting to the black hair tie on my wrist. A smile, mixed with regret and acceptance, touched her lips. Ethan, losing you was what I deserved. That was the last image of Victoria I would remember, stripped of all her sharp-edged glamour, leaving only a tired silhouette. The next day, the call from her doctor and the strange feeling in my body arrived at the same time. Mr. Miller, Ms. Evans's vitals are completely stable. She can be discharged and can continue her recovery at home. The moment the doctor finished speaking, a powerful wave of vertigo hit me, as if my soul were being forcibly ripped from my body. There was no time. Panic washed over me in a suffocating wave. My hands trembled as I dialed Claire's number, my voice breaking with urgency. Claire, listen to me. The words tumbled out. Downtown Business District, Pinnacle Tower, 17th floor, Suite A07. The key is in the usual spot. It's for you. That studio is for you. There's a document in the drawer. I've transferred 25% of the company's shares to you. After you get out, eat well, paint well, and live well. The comet stream in front of me was fading like a bad TV signal, the words twisting and breaking apart. Bro, stop talking. It sounds like you're giving your last will. WTF? Is the hero being possessed? I knew something was off with him. He's like a different person. This hero isn't the original hero? That's terrifying. I have a theory. The rest of the words blurred into a smear of light. Darkness, thick as ink, swallowed everything. I had 1,000 more words stuck in my throat. Don't forget me, Claire. In the end, all my longing and regret were devoured by the howling wind. In the final second before my consciousness was ripped away from that reality, I heard Claire's voice on the other end of the line, piercing through the void, hitting me with a clear, powerful force. Ethan, wait for me. It's been 3 years since I returned to this world, the one they call reality. I took a job as a librarian in an old community library. Day after day, I organize dusty shelves, but I can no longer find the book that held all my joy and all my pain. That whole experience feels like a hyper-realistic dream, leaving only a bone-deep ache when I woke up. But I know it wasn't a dream. The warmth of Claire's palm, the light in her eyes, the feel of the scar on her wrist. It's all carved into my soul. Tonight, the winter is especially quiet. Snow is falling silently, blanketing the city's noise. I pull my coat tighter and walk home, my feet crunching in the thin layer of snow, my breath fogging in the streetlight. And then I stop, frozen in place. Under the dim light by my apartment building, a figure so familiar it makes my heart stop is standing there, perfectly still. Snowflakes dust her dark hair and shoulders like tiny stars. A tsunami of joy crashes over me, swallowing me whole. My mind goes blank, but my body moves before I can think. The next thing I know, I'm standing right in front of her. Claire. The moment she turns to look at me, it feels like all the exhaustion from a 1,000-mile journey has finally found its resting place. A great weight lifts, and the dust settles. She turns, her bright eyes shining in the snowy night. She bumps against my chest, her voice a little stuffy, a mix of complaint and affection. Ethan, what took you so long? Her voice is choked with tears, like a little cat that has finally found its way home. I pull her into a tight hug. Her familiar, clean scent and warmth seep through my coat, so real it makes my eyes burn. I'm losing control of my emotions, so I raise a hand and cover my face. There should be no tears at a reunion. Even after we're inside and I've made hot tea, I still feel like I'm walking on clouds, unable to believe it. Claire, I stare at her profile as she holds a mug, my voice tight. You're not a hallucination for me thinking about you too much, are you? She glares at me, her eyes playfully wide, and I immediately backtrack. No, I mean, how? How did you get here? She holds the warm mug, the steam softening the delicate lines of her face. She looks up at me, a gentle smile on her lips. Ethan, from the moment I fell in love with you, I was no longer just a name on a page. Her voice is soft, but carries the weight of having crossed time itself. Those words that floated by, those different worlds. Because of you, I found the courage and the path to break free. She pauses, her smile deepening with a hard-won strength. It took me 3 years to say a proper goodbye to everything in the book. Warmth floods through me. The comment stream was right. Love makes you brave. Love conquers all. By the next winter, I had finally saved up enough money to rent a small art studio for Claire in an old part of the city, far from the downtown core. It was much smaller and older than the one in the Pinnacle Tower I had promised her. But Claire was as happy as if I'd given her the world. She stood on her toes and planted a light, warm kiss on my cheek. That little drawing pad that held our first connection was lost forever in that other world. But that was okay. The person who drew it for me was here, real and tangible, right beside me. One day, I will watch her stand in the spotlight. I will see the white walls of a gallery filled with the vibrant dreams she painted with her own hands. I will watch her achieve every future we ever imagined. Just thinking about it fills my chest with an overwhelming sense of contentment. Right now, Claire's leaning against the window, quietly watching the snow fall, reacquainting herself with a world that is still new to her. The warm light traces the beautiful, delicate outline of her profile. She looks so peaceful. I can't hold back the feeling in my heart any longer. I walk over to her and wrap my arms around her from behind, resting my chin on her soft hair. My voice is low and serious, filled with the reverence of a long, long wait. Claire, let's get married. The woman in my arms stiffens for a second, then completely relaxes, leaning her full weight against me in utter trust. She turns her head, her clear eyes filled with starlight and my own reflection, her smile so bright it could melt the entire winter. Okay, she says. She answers without a moment's hesitation, as if she has been waiting for this for 1,000 nights.